Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm Lucas and welcome back to, for the first time in a long time, a PSGL League Racing video here on F1 2021. Good chance this will be my last league race that I do in the game. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to it. It's great to be back making these videos, and yeah, so to give some very much needed context, the reason that, on the channel in general, the reason that there's been a lack of league racing, a lack of driving, is because I have not had a sim rig since the sort of middle of February, or maybe early February, give or take. I only got my sim rig, I believe, on like I finished building my sim rig on like the 16th of May, and this race was on the 18th of May. So I was what I call rigless for 4 months, and I got a message by the pad goat himself, Lewis Welch, do you want to do the final race of PSGL on F1 2021? And without thinking about it too much, I said yes, because I've missed racing, I've missed doing the content for you guys, making these videos. They've been awesome fun to do on the channel. And yeah, I wanted to, I've always said I wanted to do another league race on this game, or at least a few, or whatever it was. So, you know, and the idea was I didn't really want to practice much for it, or at least I didn't have much time to practice. So, as you can see, there's no qualifying in this video. We are starting last, and that is not by an accident. That is because I said to Lewis Welch when trying to join for the race that I want to start last, because it meant that I had to practice less. I didn't want to practice quali because I had to focus on other more important things. So at the time of preparing for this, so yeah. That's why we're starting last. I was rigless for so long, but the whole idea was to have a whole lot of fun. So without a whole lot more time to do any more explaining, 5 red lights on the screen, and we are lights out, starting from last here in PSGL Bahrain, the season finale of season 30. Getting a really good launch off the line, going up the inside of the two Hasses as we barrel down to turn 1 for the first time in a long while racing on this game. The last time I did a competitive race on F1 2021 was F1 Esports back in December, and we can see already picking up a track limit warning as we get a little bit of a squeeze from Matthias Van Erven going through T2, diving up the inside into 4 of Will Lewis, the Mercedes, but managing to get a bit of a better exit, squiggling all over the place, trying to get the traction, but already up to P17 from P20, so not a bad start to the race, and just deciding to go for the outside line, trying to carry a bit of momentum, going round the outside of Dylan Warren. Not quite getting the distance on him here, but blasting our battery, diving up the inside, and then once again up the inside of Alfie Butcher as we go side by side through the apex of, I believe it's like turn 9 or 10, the horrible braking left-hander. And now it's a drag race down to the second sort of DRS, actually no, the third DRS straight, obviously DRS not enabled, but diving up the inside of Alfie Butcher. And that is 5 positions gained on lap 1, which is massively crucial for this race. I mean, this was, starting from last, I wanted to, do the best job I could and have a lot of fun and a lot of battles, but I knew that, if I wanted to do anything really good in this race, I knew I needed to, make progress very quickly, or as quickly as I could, basically. So yeah, getting 5 positions off the first lap certainly there's worse ways to start the race. So very, very good start, and as you can see, we are on the medium tyres in this race at the moment, and the plan was to do medium soft, as I remember from doing PSGL all the way back at the beginning of the game cycle, that medium to soft was a excellent strategy. So I already had the strategy in mind, and here we are on lap 3 now, still on P15, but we actually get quite close to the back of Duncan Hoffland, and we do use a bit of ERS, but so does Duncan in front, with our DRS open, so unfortunately no way past there. We've got our good friend in front of us, Brendan Lee. We were actually in a voice call with him pre and post race, because that's just the utter memes that we get up to. And there, as you can now see, the first of the soft runners, I believe it was Carter Lundy, in the box. So that is some of the soft runners already boxing relatively early in this race. Lewis Welch, the pad goat, into the pits as well. Probably wouldn't have done this race had he not messaged me, because I wouldn't really have thought too much about it, given that I only got my rig a day and a half or whatever it was you want to calculate it. Finished building the rig in the Monday evening and racing on the Wednesday evening, so it was yeah, it was a bit of a roller coaster of events, just like even racing in this one, but it's all for a good It's all good at the end of the day. It was excellent fun just to be back in the racing hunt, and to be honest, I mean, it took 10 laps or so for me even to feel a rhythm. And I mean, throughout this whole race, as we're now up to P5 as well, that I should mention, because all the soft runners have now decided to box off of their softs onto a set of mediums. So all the alternate strategy runners have advanced up to the front of the field, and now we're in a train of our direct competitors on the same strategy. So I now know we need to get a move on. And speaking of which, going up the inside of Duncan Hoffland, braking quite late into T1, and for some reason we get a really weird rubber banding effect, sort of demon dragging ourselves with the side pods, and that you can see weaving, and apologies to Duncan because I have no idea why the cars sort of touched together the way they did, because they sort of glued together quite weirdly, but managing to get up to P4, which was crucial for our race. And as I was trying to finish off saying earlier, it took about 10 or so laps to get up into the rhythm of this race, because I don't think our pace, again, I'm going to finish that explanation later, because diving up the inside, quite a late move from us on time and shooter, sorry, as I have to clear my throat. This is a great commentary effort, Lucas. But yeah, trying to, well, I mean, we've not got a lot of battery, but trying to pressure the cars in front, but timing diving up the inside of Thomas Ronner, who was the pole sitter in this race as far as I can remember. But we've got 3 wide into the middle sector, managing to get up the inside of Timon, but then switching it one way, now up the inside of Thomas Ronner. Now we're side by side going through the middle sector of this lap, and then we have the race leader, Brendan Lee, directly ahead of us, but we need to try and finish the move on Ronner, so diving round the outside, carrying that forward momentum and getting the great drive out of the hairpin, double upshift by accident there, but we just made a double overtake on that lap there, so that was crucial for our race. So excellent racecraft and great racing from everyone involved there, because that could have very easily ended in tears. But yeah, up into P2 now from P5, so this was all really crucial for our race, just to get as many positions as we could before the pit stop. So excellent, and as you can see, not much battery from having to do all the passing, but making sure we kept in Brendan's DRS. But yeah, I mean, I do think throughout this whole race, I don't think my pace was very optimal, but I think the thing that served me well was I kept my racing head on and tried to keep my instinct sharp with how to react to different situations and when to make moves. And as you can see, Brendan Lee now into the box, which I thought at the time was extremely early, because I mean, me being me, I had no idea how long the softs could last, and I thought at that point they would, you know, not make it to the end. But turns out, as we dip onto lap 18, this is the lap that I make my pit stop, so 2 laps later than Brendan. That is me now diving into the pits, but what you're probably about to see, as I thought I was going to speed into the pit lane, is Brendan has a huge undercut on us because of those 2 laps, because I mean, brand new softs versus older mediums, it's not even a competition. I mean, it's insane how much time they gain, and I think he's going to, I mean, you can see on the minimap now, he's already passing us. And we're not even at the pit exit yet. I mean, now we are, but he's gone. So Brendan Lee with the fastest lap, 5 seconds ahead from 2 laps undercut. So when I saw that, at that point I was like, well, I've just made a huge mistake on strategy, because no matter how much tyre advantage I have at this point, so 2 laps tyre advantage, that's not 5 seconds of race time, or at least it's not likely to be, etc. So that was a big oof at that point, I can't lie. I mean, Brendan did have a time penalty, I believe, from, I think it was maybe a pit entry infringement or something like that, but the thing with penalties is I don't really think about them all too much, because you don't know what isn't sometimes, like whether it's a bug or whether it's legitimate. I always try and, you know, keep my eyes on the ball and forward thinking in the race, with, you know, don't rely on something to be a penalty, otherwise you're going to maybe have a, you know, an unwelcome surprise later in the race. But back to the action now, out on the soft tires, lap 19 of 29. We are in P12 now, so we've got a lot of work to do to catch up to the runners in front. And as you can see now, Duncan Hoffland, he boxed, I believe, on the same lap potentially as Brendan, or 1 lap earlier than us. But point is, he undercut us, and he's now directly ahead of us, going on to lap 20 now. DRS now being opened, and Duncan doesn't have it ahead of us, so thankfully for us, we are probably going to get this move done. Just gaining. Duncan doesn't defend, so we got the inside. Nice and simple move, and that is us up into the top 10 now. And for me as well, Ronar, as you can see there on P12, he pitted in the same lap as us, so the fact that I now had a car between myself and Ronar was a huge thing for the race. And we now set the fastest lap of the race as well, I think straight off the back of passing Duncan. But we had to defend the inside there because I thought Duncan was going to come back at us, but thankfally he never went for the inside, so we managed to cover that move off quite well. And again, keeping a car between ourselves and Ronar, because I thought Ronar was, I mean, he was one of the main threats in this race, given he had the same tyre delta as us effectively. So it was yeah, at this point just trying to manage all different areas of the race, and at the moment yeah, setting the fastest lap, now in the top 10, and now you can see we are starting to catch the pack of all the older tyre medium runners. And yeah, at this point in the race, I have no idea how far we can go. I mean, we have now got the tyre advantage. The soft will die towards the end to effectively eliminate a pace advantage. So, you know, any moves that I need to do them early on when I've got a lot of grip. And you can see how much time I gain on Andrei Tarabukin. I hope I pronounced that right, so if I haven't, going into this sort of final section. So diving it up the inside, wasting no time, just giving him a little bit of a squeeze, but just enough racing room, no harm done there. And that is us up into the P9 now. Me just giving a little bit of a wiggle to apologise if it was a bit too much of a squeeze going into the penultimate corner. Blue flag's been waved apparently for whatever random reason, but now, again, still with low battery, but now onto the top 9, and yeah, that's why there's a blue flags. But now we have Alessio Di Capo and Benji Sabaconyi in going side by side ahead of us, both on the older medium tyres. So for me, this was a prime opportunity to get stuck in about it, going side by side, getting a huge snap on the curb, trying to get around the outside, then the inside of Benji, and then having a look at Alessio Di Capo, trying to have a little sniff at the inside. I didn't want to commit to the move because I didn't know if Di Capo would close the door or not, but getting a great run in the exit with the grip advantage, and then that is us up into P7, so that's 2 more positions in basically as many corners for us. So up into P7 now, and now cutting on to lap 23. Yeah, you can see the train. This is the train for literally the lead of the race, and it's lap 23, so we have time on our side. But crucially, you can see Brendan Lee up in P2, and at this point I didn't have a clue if that penalty was going to be valid or not. So at this point I was like, well, if I'm going to challenge Brendan for the win, you know, I'm going to have to make moves, and that's exactly what I was trying to set about doing. So diving up the inside of Christoph into the end of the back straight, and then we've got Simon Prigney up ahead of us, so we just make a double move, diving up the inside, using that grip advantage. We're just trying to waste as little time as humanly possible to, you know, get the moves done while we can, while we've got the grip. So that was 2 moves in as many, well, not as many corners, but you get my point. And now, you know, we can literally see the race leader in the form of Lewis Welch. But we have a few cars between himself and ourselves. Funnily, Jeff thinks we're going to pit again. Nice try, boss. But yeah, Danny Resney now diving up the inside of Brendan Lee, who picked up damage as well. So really unfortunate for Brendan in this race. He's flashing with the RS as well. So Danny Resney and Brendan Lee going side by side. Brendan not opting to fight us, which was a very gentlemanly thing to do from him. So thank you very much, my good friend, for not making my life miserable. I got the wing damage as well. So up into P4 now, and trying to have a look at Danny Bresney. We know we've got the grip advantage. We dive in deep on the brakes, just run it in hot, and that is us up into P3. And all of a sudden, from starting last in this race, from dead last, the win is right in front of us. A realistic chance of winning this race from last position, it's right there. So we know what we need to do. We have to just keep our heads calm, use the tyre advantage, try and hold on for when they start to fall off, and that will hopefully do as well. But having a little look at the inside of Carter Lundy, going for P2 now. We've just got to try and tick all the positions. We have a little bit of contact there, but Carter Lundy not giving us any room in the exit that corner. It was getting really squeaky. And then we've got Danny Beresney having a look at it, so we just got absolutely sending it up the inside of T4, just trying to get the move done, because we didn't want to let Beresney try and get in amongst it as well, because for all we know, Beresney's mediums towards the end of the race can come back at us, so we just need to try and use the grip advantage while we've got it. Now skipping on to the end of lap 25, we have now got the race leader Lewis Welch in our sights. He's also out of energy, as are effectively ourselves, and now on lap 26 of 29 we take the lead of this race, and with only a few laps left to run, we just need to try our best to guide it home and hang on with the tyres starting to slip away as the race goes towards the end, as the tyres will be getting a bit past their best. The softs do start to fall off, but as you can see now, lap 28 of 29, Danny Berezny now getting into P2 ahead of Lewis Welch, which at this point I had to keep my head switched on at all times anyway, but at this point I knew I had to keep it really sharp because Berezny was in DRS and I knew I was completely flat in ERS, and I remember from watching the stream back as well, from doing voiceover, Berezny had like 40% ERS, which I didn't know at the time, but this was, this is huge for the race because, for all I know, Berezny could blast that in 2 straights if he's got enough battery, and he gets past us. So going on to the final lap of the race, Berezny 7/10ths back, not close enough to take a strike at us on this initial first straight, but later in the lap, who knows, because our grip is starting to fall away. So we are on the final lap of this race, on the verge of doing a last to first challenge without, my first race back, first race in, in 2022 on the F1 game competitively, first time doing a race in Esports, and we're in the contention for a win, given all the circumstances, which is just insane. So really just trying to hold it together going through this final lap of the race here in Bahrain PSGL Season 30 finale, and yeah, Danny Berezny 5/10ths behind, making a little bit of a mistake running in a bit deep into the tricky left-hander, but he's 6/10ths behind, 5/10ths behind, and at this point I knew as long as I basically kept it clean, then it was most likely that I would probably keep it hold of the win. So it was just holding on. Danny Berezny 4/10ths back, I believe. It's just trying not to make any mistakes because we were on the limit of, tyres and grip and ERS, and thankfully not fuel, but 4/10ths is the gap, make it just under 4/10ths, one more corner to negotiate, diving it in for one last time, getting the exit we need is going to be enough, so yeah, that'll be it. How the hell have we done that?
Where is he?
Oh!
Ah, there we go.
Oh! Oh! How have we done that? How have we done that? Oh! Last to first! Can you hear me? And there we have it. We managed to pull off a last to first in a league race on F1 2021. My first league race of 2022. And yeah, what a way to come back to having a rig, not being rigless. So yeah, such an immense experience, and you could even see my dad. My dad was watching the race, and he obviously heard my reaction and decided to come in and congratulate me, which was pretty awesome. But there we have it, folks. That is certainly a nice way to return to the league racing scene. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Here is the results on your screen now. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe down below. And yeah, thank you so much for your support. And yeah, I hope to catch you guys in the future. Ciao.